more about
Yeah.
Oon because it's a fascinating product, to be honest.
Thank you. Yeah, a little bit about Oon. Oon is a health tracker for your teeth. Essentially, it gives you an information about the state of your teeth, oral hygiene specifically. The first launch will have technology essentially will scan your images of your teeth, so you actually can take 3 photos using Oon and your smartphone camera. So you have a small piece, or what we call the Oon lens, that you attach to your phone. There is no technology in the Oon lens. It just is an attachment to the phone, and then it allows you to take 3 photos of the front, left, and right of your teeth. Then the app will scan the images, and it will tell you, where your plaque is building up essentially, and that's kind of where your problem areas could be building up. So that's kind of where inflammation could be, also where cavities could be building up, and then essentially you want to prevent that. So we'll show you where your plaque is building up, so you can brush there, floss there, and get rid of it, and aim to be under 1% plaque. Essentially, that's the oral hygiene goal.
Okay, pretty interesting. Why did you choose to go with health tracking for teeth as an entrepreneur?
So it was inspired by my sister, who needed a way to actually see whether her oral hygiene was improving before she was going to go and get the assessment for braces. So when you're getting braces or kind of any treatment, to be honest, your oral hygiene has to be at certain kind of situation, kind of like, so if it's too bad, if inflammation's too high, they just can't allow you to have braces. So the dentist kind of sent her away, and he said, if by the next appointment I need to see improvement in these areas, and that basically means less plaque and less inflammation. And it was just a struggle for her to understand whether it's actually improving or whether she's on track with that. And then to feel confident about kind of going to the dentist next and kind of getting the thumbs up. She did manage. By the next appointment, he was happy with all the efforts that she's been putting. But that's kind of really where the inspiration came from. And as a biomedical engineer, which is my background, and then I was doing my final year as an engineer, and deciding what I wanted to build in my final year dissertation, I then decided to kind of begin working on the software to see if it's possible to make it happen.
And what other use cases are there for, say I'm a normal citizen and I just want to have less visits to the dentist, right? I want to save up on this and have a healthy, how do you say, like oral hygiene? Would that be the typical the typical use case for the product? Just normal people like you and I?
I think that the typical user case is that your trips to the dentist and hygienist will be cheaper. They shouldn't be eliminated because they're really important as part of your, kind of maintenance of your health, and kind of checking in. But what you will be avoiding is cost. So one of the things, obviously, why a lot of people avoid the dentist is because, if you haven't been for a very long time, one of the biggest fears is when you go into the dentist chair, they identify, more than one issue, and therefore each issue is a cost, is a bill. So one of the things what Oon provides is that one, it allows you to use, if you are someone who's avoiding the dentist, it's perfect for you because you kind of can get on top of your teeth care and start doing some work on your teeth yourself, because a lot of it can be done at home in terms of maintenance and improving just oral hygiene. So when you do go to the dentist and you go for a checkup, I think you're most likely going to have less issues and therefore less much lower bill. Obviously, if Oon has caught you and you're kind of a bit far ahead in your journey, so let's say you're kind of past prevention, then you will have to do that work regardless, obviously, because you may have already kind of built a cavity, you already have kind of like really deep inflammation that needs obviously a dentist to treat that. But obviously, essentially, and obviously we want to avoid more than further than that. But essentially, obviously, if you're not in that stage, and you're using Oon, and we've reached you before you kind of go on to kind of building more problems, then we're going to be helping you manage and control your plaque level. So when you go to that regular checkup, which is necessary just to see kind of if there's anything else that Oon obviously can't check for you, And that's where the dentist comes in, has kind of an overall kind of, gives you an overall idea, kind of assessment. Then you should, that's kind of where we say confidently, you shouldn't be experiencing bills like, okay, you've got 3 cavities, you need to sort out a root canal, kind of like really bad tooth enamel wear, and et cetera, et cetera. And all of that obviously racks up to bills if you have to sort all of that out. So yeah, that's kind of where it comes in that instance as well.
Do you think that's the future of health tech? First prevention rather than curing, and second, not cutting out the end professional, but doing more work before you see that actual professional. Do you think that's the future of health tech?
Yeah, I 100%. I think even if you think about not even the sleep space and just in the fitness space as well, just kind of general health as a whole, managing your health, through whether you're active or whether you're doing it through diet, understanding kind of the right foods, you're preventing issues like, diabetes kind of hitting you down the line, or cardiovascular disease hitting you down the line. And therefore you're not kind of thinking about curing, you're actually going to the expert for prevention, for maintenance, for enhancement, optimizing your health versus the other way around. And I think it's definitely kind of with more knowledge and awareness of how powerful that is and how empowering that is, I think that's kind of where we're going to head.
Correct. Like other than the aesthetics of having a good oral hygiene, I would guess, are there like deeper health problems that can arise from not maintaining a good oral hygiene?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you said, exactly. A lot of the time, there is a relation to the aesthetics and the social side of oral hygiene and the confidence side as well. But then there's also a link between how the mouth is very strongly linked to the rest of your body. And this is very, it can make sense to anyone, because what happens is when your oral health is not in best shape, especially oral hygiene, what happens when the plaque builds up, your gums will get inflamed, and when your gums get inflamed, essentially that's actually an opening point of to the body. So you're basically, there's literally a what we call a gateway where the bacteria, the bad bacteria in your mouth, can now enter the bloodstream. Now, once that bad bacteria is entering the bloodstream, it's building up in parts of your body, and that's why there is a strong link, and that's kind of, and there's a lot of research going on to kind of solidify this further, which is why there's a strong link between the mouth and systemic diseases like cardiovascular, because cardiovascular is a disease of inflammation, where the vessels are inflamed, and what they're finding is that the plaque and bacteria from the mouth is inflaming those areas, and therefore cardiovascular is related to that. The other thing is Alzheimer's and dementia. So what they're finding is that the bacteria that's in the mouth, or the bad bacteria in the mouth, they're finding that same bacteria in the brain. And the only way you can get there is through your bloodstream. And that's literally what's happening. So therefore, once the gums are inflamed, you've got an opening point, and that we don't want that. You do not want, not only is it kind of causing damage in the mouth, but it's also allowing that bacteria to come into your body and the system. There's a lot now as well of understanding of the oral microbiome as well. Obviously, you probably understand that the hyperbiome, the gut microbiome. And that's kind of even more information, is understanding of balancing your good and bad bacteria in the gut. But that's really coming in with the mouth as well, because the mouth also has a balance of good and bad bacteria. So there's a lot more information of understanding how your mouth is now literally connected to your gut microbiome.
Indeed.
So therefore you're seeing way more just way more knowledge that it's way more than just a cavity or an aesthetic thing. It really is health as well.
Because in the end, it's one big organ, right? It starts from the mouth and it comes out the other end, right? And that's like one big ecosystem, one could say.
Spot on, literally spot on. That's literally spot on. I think you can't even deny that.
Let's talk a bit about Un and like other features. Right now, it's focused on plaque. For example, I have a gums recess in my mouth in the down part. Will you also include those other features, not only related to plaque?
Yeah, so one of the things that we're doing is, so kind of like the journey of your teeth kind of starts with the plaque and the control of your plaque. and also your gum focus areas as well. So we'll be releasing that kind of in beta mode quite soon after the launch of the first one of Oon when it first comes out commercially. So you'll be able to kind of understand which teeth you need to focus on in terms of plaque, and then also which gums as well are being identified as key focus areas for you. Once you kind of obviously nailed, kind of staying in that under 1% plaque, etc., we can start to look at kind of things that you may want to work on as well. So, for example, we talk about alignment. So obviously, that can affect oral hygiene as well, as well as aesthetics as well, but can also affect oral hygiene. So crowding of any teeth, and kind of identifying that for you and giving you kind of options of what you can do if you were to look into kind of solving that. What are the treatment options? Receding gums as well is something that is if you have it, it's irreversible. So once you've got it, it's irreversible. What we can do, obviously, as a technology, is identify potentially kind of some area that's looking to start receding, and then we can kind of obviously give you that heads up to kind of not brush as hard maybe in those areas so they don't recede further. Which is obviously important because you don't want areas of teeth getting exposed. So these are all things that the technology, because of the images we take of your teeth, we can give you a lot of information about things that you can avoid, things, potential treatment options for you if you're interested, and et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot we can, and then also supporting you throughout a treatment. For example, if you are doing an alignment, we can obviously showcase how your teeth are aligning over time, and et cetera. So that's kind of where we're going to road mapping further.
So when precisely did started? In how many months ago? Well, I think it's in 2015, no?
Years that. Yeah, it's spot on. Yeah, so I graduated in 2015, and I had built the first version of that software. So I was doing gum analysis, and I was doing plaque analysis of the teeth, and I had a version of that working on images of the teeth, not from a smartphone, but from a camera taken using a laptop. And then it was 2015, once we graduated, me and Gina joined forces around October. I think that was after we graduated in July, and then we said, let's see if we can, if this is something we can do on smartphones, whether it's valuable, does it actually shift habits, does it help people? Then we kind of did a bit of that, and then in 2016 we were kind of rolling out an MVP. And then it was we saw a lot of solid kind of proof of this definitely being something we should kind of get our heads down in and really kind of make happen. And then with it, we understood obviously the R&D that was necessary to kind of build this technology. Again, obviously we were dealing with different smartphone cameras, different teeth, different grades of the plaque as well. So depending whether it's earlier or a bit later. So there was a lot of R&D that we need to do, and therefore we raised in 2017 to kind of cover as much of that R&D development. The other challenge that we had was building something that was, kind of friendly for you to use, because it's, it had to kind of fit in, not even fit in, but it kind of had to be something that you want to do at least once a week, against the normal habits of us when it comes to our teeth. So there was a lot that was not only on the tech side, but definitely on the user side as well, that we had to kind of develop in order for this to be kind of ready to commercialize. And then so we basically were ready to commercialize in 2019. And then the year we were gearing to the launch in 2020, kind of first quarter. And then the COVID situation happened, and so that's kind of where some of basically it kind of our manufacturing was delayed, and there was a lot of things that basically after that it was just kind of like a domino effect of lots of things that kind of happened, and therefore we couldn't launch in our timelines, and so therefore we had to find a new manufacturer, and there was a lot that had to be kind of pivoted and moved in order for us to kind of get it out, and so we're basically now in 2021, after doing plan B and kind of in the ends of it.
Okay, I get it. And
get it out a second time.
Yeah, go on. Sorry, I think the connection cut here.
No, I'm so sorry. I was finished. Thank you.
Okay. I was just wondering because it's been like 6 years in the venture, and I kind of know the journey because I have my own well, it's not tech startup, but
Yeah.
I have my own supplement, so it's a health related startup, and it can be pretty long down the line. Did you guys get
Oh,
any
amazing.
funding?
Yeah, we did an angel round in a pre-seed angel round in 2017. We had to. Okay, we're back on. Yeah, we had to raise a bit more money in 2020 as well, just to kind of support the fact that we couldn't launch in 2020, and then kind of with what happened, we needed to launch in 2021. So yeah, that's our kind of our funding journey.
Okay, and when are you guys planning to launch?
So now we're in the last steps of this manufacturing or this manufacturer. So one of the steps as a manufacturer, I think you may know this as well, is just kind of, once you've got your tool, you've got to get the samples. So we're just waiting now on the samples of our hardware. And once we see those, we will see, any other further tweaks we need to make. If it's looking really good, obviously we're very close to kind of, just kind of cleaning that up and then ready to kind of go out, and it just can get boxed up. And so when you order it, because when you order it, you'll get a box delivered to you. Inside we'll have the hardware, and then you can access the app, and we'll basically just kind of set yourself up in the app, and you're good to go. You can start scanning. So that's the last bit. It's just kind of giving the thumbs up on our hardware for it to be ready to kind of go in a box and get sent out.
Okay, pretty cool. Congrats on that.
I think we're looking. Yeah. Thank you.
For
so yeah, let's see. So hopefully next year.
Yeah. For manufacturing, I was just wondering because, yeah, indeed, it must have been hell to manage that throughout the pandemic. Is it manufactured in China, or is it like near home?
So these guys are in the UK. So our first kind of route to manufacturing was, yes, we had to deal with the factory which was in China. We had it was kind of like a hybrid model. So we had they are in the UK, but most of the tool making is done in China. And then they moved it to the UK. But that was our first option, which didn't work out, and therefore we had to kind of look for another option. And the second option, we were happy. We were very adamant. We wanted it to be in the UK. They're also in the UK.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, with China, like and Wuhan, I'm not sure like how most people dealt with that. Like that must have been
I don't know.
Some headache.
Missions, absolutely, because obviously you think about samples having to travel back to you to the UK. Oh my goodness, and and you can't be there to because this last part of what the tool's made is when the adjustments you need to be quick, kind of like back and forth. So it must be very challenging if you can't be there to kind of make adjustments or tell the tool makers to change this. So
yeah. Couple of more questions for you. Where the name came from, and by the way, pretty cool logo that you guys have.
Yeah, you see the teeth. We had special projects work on that. So special projects as an agency. Once when we got in the grant post the angel round, we definitely brought in kind of a very good kind of design company. But not only because we had the mission of the hardware that needed to be figured out. So we had a very kind of ambitious goal of making the hardware, universal, fit on any smartphone without having to have multiple versions of it. So we needed a good team to work on that, so an industrial team. But they also did the work on some options for names. So we went out and did a lot of research on kind of the direction of where we wanted this to sit. So initially, the first name was called Plaque Checker. And obviously, when we did the market research, we realized, that's just not something you want on your phone. That's not something you kind of put on your screen and be kind of like very, very happy to kind of say Plaque Checker. So we kind of realized, how we wanted to position it and to kind of make it not feel, like something you dread. So when we gave them that criteria, they were able to kind of give us some options, and Unu was one of them. It doesn't have a meaning. It was created, and then, it has no meaning. We just kind of gave it a meaning once we plonked it as part of the name of the product.
Okay, pretty interesting. We've got like 4 minutes left, so I'll do kind of a rapid fire round of questions. So
Okay, okay.
at what price do you think Un will retail for?
So we're looking at a price between 23 to 28 pounds. So within that price range.
Really? That is so cheap. I
Yeah.
thought it would be like
Yeah.
around 300 to 500. Well,
No, no, no,
in
no, because
USD, not in pounds, obviously.
yeah, no, no, we're doing the what you'll expect is what we're selling is the starter pack.
Okay.
So that gives you access to 12 scans. So
Okay.
you buy the lens and you'll buy access to being able to scan your teeth and your images. So then you can you can pay for more scans, and then we can develop as we add more features and tech. We can obviously start to shape those pricings a bit further, and you get more options on that. But this is what you're getting initially as starter pack is it's nice and affordable.
Okay. Will there be a subscription model?
Yeah, so once you've used up all your 12 scans, you can subscribe to 2 scans a month. So if you want to keep, it really depends on your journey and like where, how your teeth are, and like because 12 scans keeps you. If you're scanning once a week, then that's 3 months.
Okay.
You may still need to keep going with your oral hygiene, like you're not still under 1% plaque. So you may want to pay for 4 scans a month. You may be under 1% plaque, so you just want it's more for maintenance. So 2 scans a month option is good for you, so you can subscribe to that.
Okay, pretty cool. Basically for the launch, what platform will you use? Are you planning on using Kickstarter, Indiegogo, or how do you plan on launching that?
So we're going to be launching directly, so you can order directly from the website. So that's why we won't be doing a pre-order campaign. We'll just once it's ready to kind of ship out, you can order it from the website, our Oom's website, which will be what you're seeing now is not the one that you can not the version that you'll be ordering from, but that will launch as well once the product's ready to send out, so you can order it from the website.
Okay. I've got a more personal question. How is it to be a female in a male-dominated startup world?
You just gotta keep going. I think you've got to be. There is a reality there, 100%, and you can't deny it. And you just kind of be like, well, that's just the way it is, and you just do you. I would say just keep doing you. Be sure of what you're capable of. And even though the journey might be a bit tougher, or the hills a bit higher, steeper for you, you just got to roll with it. There's not much you could do with them. It's just the way it is. There's not a lot of females in the tech space, not a lot of females kind of with groundbreaking AI tech. So there's a lot of skepticism on whether this will be a success by male investors. But it's only time will tell, isn't it? And once you break that, then you pave the way for other women in tech as well.
Really inspiring. What are your top 3 habits to actually create energy in your day?
I don't start straight away on my laptops and my work. So I'll be up in the morning. I'm straight into I have enough time to do my morning routine, so I'm not rushing it. So I definitely don't like to rush the mornings, and so I'm not like all fuzzy and So I've got you're kind of waking up and you're having your moment. You're getting to kind of, as you're doing your morning routine, you're getting to plan your day ahead. Definitely exercise in the morning is a great way. A bit of prayer or a bit of meditation is definitely a good one. And then by then I would have already my mind's already kind of mulling what I want to do that day and kind of smash. And then, I can crack onto it, actually write it and list it, and then I'll start on my day. That's I think that kind of really helps with a good energy.
Yeah, morning routine is huge. I mean, you cannot start a productive day without it. It kind of sets your brain in production mode. It's like a warm up, one could say.
So true. It's literally, as you spot on, it's a bit of a warm up. I think it's a nice one. It's definitely a nice one when you've got your nice morning. And it's different. It's different by person. Some people, like there's a certain tea in the morning before, and it helps them get started. Everyone's different what warm up they do to help them. But I think that's a good way to do it. A nice warm up before you get into it, the nitty gritty bits. Like the hardcore parts.
let's finish up with 3 books that you would recommend to the audience. Could be personal, could be business.
Okay, 3 books. Honestly, I don't. I would say one of the biggest kind of quote inspirations I've had have been from Denzel Washington's,
Okay.
you know, random clips that you find on YouTube. So sometimes you've got a bit of his talks on there. So definitely he's been a definite inspiration on that.
Oh, yeah.
The other, on top of my head, Shoe Dog. I remember reading Shoe Dog's one. That was a really good book of his experiences. Yeah, Shoe Dog, the night guy. And I think those two were kind of definitely a good one. There was one other one. I think it was called The Third Wave. I think that was a good one as well.
That's a good one. I read it. Yeah, it's pretty good. I need to go at it again. What was the main thesis again in that book?
It was really about kind of like you know, if you're pretty kind of like ambitious in where you kind of want to go, or or a vision that's sometimes not really there yet in the current present, but you're definitely eager to kind of you know, reach out there. Then obviously he was talking about AOL, and obviously where how, you know, how they were kind of in that, they were kind of ahead in the way they were thinking, where they wanted to go, but they kind of had to, you know, push forward, you know, kind of not kind of have faith in what they were doing, and to kind of, you know, see themselves as part of that third wave. I think it was around that. It was quite inspirational for us, where we felt there was a lot of you know, a lot of people saying this is not going to work, or this is not something that's that big a deal. So we had a lot of that, where people were doubting it. So some of our books, I would say, that inspired us were kind of those that kind of told us, you know, pushed us, or kind of gave us examples of people who were in that same situation, but kind of stuck at it in order to see it kind of materialize. So those were really books that we kind of were drawn to as founders.
Yeah, I have it here in front of me. It says, you know, the first wave was kind of AOL and laying out the foundation, like it was the internet basically. Second wave was Google and Facebook to build on top of the internet, so like a search engine. And the third wave, which like I still need to wrap my brain around, it's a period in which entrepreneur will vastly transform major real-world sectors like health, education, transportation, food,
spot
in the
on.
process the change we live in our lives.
Yeah, you're right. That's it. That's the one where they start to go in and about untapped spaces that have been around for ages, which is kind of what we talk about. I think this NHS and things that have. Yeah, you're right. That's it. Spot on. That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Well, basically, the third wave is like connecting everything else with technology, like HealthTech, EduTech. Well, that's my understanding of it. Anyway, I need to reread the book again.
Yeah, you're right. I should definitely. I've forgotten as well, but that's true. Yeah, that was the one. FinTech, all the kind of spaces that have been like, you know, in a bit in their own. They haven't really bought induced to as much, but it's coming. Yeah, you said it's one. I think that's the one.
Well, Hawaa, thank you for coming. That was an entertaining conversation. Certainly eye-opening. Really interesting stuff that you're building. Congrats on everything. And I'm wishing you a really nice day in London. It must be like around 6 p.m. your time right now, no?
It is 3:30.
Okay, 3:30 in cool and innovative London. I love the city, by the way.
Thank you. Whereabouts are you?
I'm in Mexico right now. Like most of the time I'm traveling, you know, around the world, Canada. I've been to London. It's pretty cool. Yeah. But hey, wishing you a really nice day. I'll be in touch with you for the rest. And
oh my
yeah,
God.
have a good one.
That's mad.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.